What's up, guys? We're back with another video, and it's going to be pertaining to the ISR wheels, or the ESR, sorry. So, quick update on everything else, though. So, yes, I still have all the Hyundai parts for the Genesis Coupe. I just got the cabin air filter for it, even though I replaced it about a year and a half ago. But I'm going to go ahead and replace it again, since I put about 40,000 miles on the car since then. If you have a Genesis Coupe and you want to replace the cabin air filter, by Fram, it's going to be CF10709. I actually like that. That's carbon activated. It's pretty nice. Also, I heard back on the rest of the exhaust setup for the Subaru SVX from Vibrant on the dual exhaust tips. If you didn't know, I'm running duals on the Subaru SVX, which is going to have the burnt tips, and that's going to be a 2.5 inlet and 3.5 out. But that's pretty much the setup on that. Apparently they had huge delays due to COVID, so Vibrant emailed me and said they're going to end up shipping it out April 1st. So hopefully April 1st I can contact them and just get tracking info and all that. Hoping I can get that back then. The Subaru's still at the trans shop. Apparently they had issues with employees, either sick or COVID or all that good stuff. So I'm still waiting on the Subaru as well. The front bumper. Later tonight I'll end up test fitting all the plastics on this front bumper, and if it all fits well, I will end up having the bumper repainted on the 29th. Probably pick it up on probably around actually April 1st, 2nd. But yeah, so that's all that stuff. Let's jump into the ESR wheels. So as you guys know, ESR is they just now started making 3-piece wheels. But these wheels specifically, the SR1s, are really like a knockoff or rep wheel of the Work VSXs. I've talked about that in a few of my older videos about how I wanted to get the Work VSXs, but at that time the car was completely stock, so I ended up buying all these other parts for the Genesis, and then I settled on these for right now because I got all 4 of these for $1,000 versus getting the Work VSXs in this exact setup. Black lips, black faces, black barrels, and gold hardware would have been right around $4,000, and obviously $1,000 versus $4,000. It's a pretty big difference. That means I had $3,000 left to spend on extra parts, such as intake, exhaust, list goes on. But if you want to see videos on those further back, so go ahead, check them out if you want to, or if you want to check out the Subaru SVX, go ahead and check that out too. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, by the way, I'm Rspec Nick. I do fun stuff like this, and then I have the Hyundai Genesis Coupe, and I have the Subaru SVX as well, as mess with other cars along the way. So if you want to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. What's up? But yeah, so the ESR wheel rivets, they're little plastic rivets, like so. Now these I've had on my car for 2 years now. And the car sits outside all year round. It's never garage kept. I drive through the snow, rain, winter, summer, all that good stuff. Wash the car all the time. So I'm actually impressed that the fake or the paint on them, or whatever you want to call that, actually held up as long as it did. It held up 2 years worth of that, which is pretty impressive. I mean, I'll give it that, especially being plastic. Now, there's a couple ways you can rip the rivets off. You can either use pliers, and you can grab on to the tops of them and kind of like wiggle them back and forth and pull up at the same time and hope the bottom portion of it doesn't get stuck down in the hole, which if it's new enough, it'll probably rip out pretty smooth. But if it's old like mine and it's gone through a lot of weathering, they might crack. You might slip off and smack the lip of the wheel, or maybe go sideways, scratch the face. A bunch of different things can happen. What you could do is you could use a small little drill bit like this, which is a 3/32. I've also used a 5/64 as well, and you can actually drill into the top of it. As you can see, you can drill into the top of them and then run a screw down through them. That way it gives you a little extra room to grab onto, and then same thing while it's in there, wiggle it up, and then pull straight up. But the same thing will happen is if they're old enough, they might snap off, or maybe they're just too weak and they'll snap off. Then you have to take another screw, drill it into the bottom portion that is now stuck into the wheel, which looks like this, and same concept. Screw through it, wiggle it, and pull. You could drill these out, but most people are a little worried about that because they don't want to drill down through. Now obviously you could technically drill straight through that hole and run real hardware, which some guys do. Some guys actually drill them out to run actual hardware, but that's kind of, I'm not going to do that because that's a little too much. I mean, it would probably last a lot longer. It'd be cheaper in the long run. I mean, if I replace these fake rivets every 2 years, these cost about $120 from ESR. So $120 every 2 years versus probably, I don't even know how much actual hardware would cost, but you know, go from there. So you got the plier method. You could drill and then run a screw through it and then run, you know, use pliers again to do that. Or you could just use, the method that I've been running is drill method. So the drill method, so obviously I have some pilot holes going on in the existing fake rivets. Now, the drill bit I'm using for this is a 7/32. So what you do is, now you don't have to run the pilot holes. I'm just running pilot holes because it makes me feel a little bit more safe, and I know I'm going in straight. Now obviously you can just eyeball it and it should go in straight, but I don't want to say that because if you go in crooked, I don't want you to be like, hey, I tried this and it didn't work. So the pilot holes are definitely probably a better idea. So it's actually pretty simple. You go up to it, try to get you guys down in here, keep the drill bit straight, and then you're gonna have the drill bit in like a righty-tighty, basically, going in right. And then you're gonna drill down. What's gonna happen is you're gonna drill, the first section of the drill is gonna go through the top portion. You'll see the top, basically the top hat of it spinning. If you put a little bit more pressure down, you'll hear it bottom out and hit the bottom of the wheel. Now it's not actually hitting the bottom of the wheel, but I'll show you when I do it. So there's the first portion. As you can see, it's spinning the top. Now you push down a little bit harder, and then you can hear it hit the bottom. Now you put it in reverse, and then pull straight up. And then you have the whole rivet and some good old cheese on there too. Now to get that off, all you gotta do, I mean, you could hold it, obviously use gloves or something, and then the whole thing comes off. And then you have the bottom portion, and this is what I was basically saying. So when you drill, it'll basically separate the top and the bottom. And then when you push down a little bit harder, it'll actually go through the bottom, but it won't actually touch the bottom of the wheel. I mean, unless you push down hard enough. There'll be a little section up top that kind of like cushions it before it hits the bottom of the wheel. And then obviously you reverse it and it pulls the whole thing up. And as you can see, there's no scarring done to it. It just ripped out the old rivet. And then, yeah. So super easy, as you can tell. That's definitely the least difficult way to do it, is doing it like this. Now, I want to say this concept works with other rep wheels that have the fake rivets, but I don't know exactly what sizing the holes are, so I don't want to tell you like, oh yeah, go ahead and drill out these, or go ahead and drill out these Avids, or, you know. So just keep cautious. I mean, you could always just eye it up. You could take the drill bit out 7/32, and then pull one out, and then try to see how much gappage there is, and go from there. But that's all up to you guys. The drilling is definitely easier on the ESRs. And then to install them, you take the new rivet, go ahead, and they have little splines on them. So you go ahead and line it up in there, push down, and you'll see it sink down a little bit, and now it stays there. And hopefully you guys don't fall over for this one. But then you take your screwdriver. Hopefully you have a screwdriver with like a plastic bottom, that way it doesn't scar the wheel itself, or a rubber bottom. And as you can see, these fake rivets have like a little indent. Line the circle up with the indent. Put some pressure down on it, that way it doesn't try to move anywhere. And then use a hammer to hit whatever you're using to sink these things in straight down on it. And there you go. It's all in there. It's flush with it. It doesn't scar them up. And yeah, then now you have the new one. So you just obviously keep going like that, keep doing that, and you're good. Now, the main reason I replaced mine is because mine were super faded out, like I said, from weathering. And I just wanted to update the look a little bit, make them look a little bit better. They've been good to me, honestly. They've been good. I've had them for 2 years, like I said, 2 years, 40,000 miles. I go through potholes, I do burnouts, donuts, all that stuff. So far I haven't cracked any of them. I haven't bent any of them. None of that. So, I mean, I understand there's a huge debate between forged and the rep wheels, but honestly, if you're just going to be daily driving the car like I do and then having some fun every now and then, there's not really any issue with, but getting reps, especially if you can't afford them. Like, there's no reason. I think the main thing that people have an issue with is when people buy these and then slap like work center caps on them. I usually leave I leave the ESR caps on them because there's no point to pass them off as something they're not. That's like with anything else. But yeah, like I said, you can get the fake rivets from ESR for about 110, 120 bucks, and they come in gold, or you can get them in, let's see, we got red here, silver, blue, green, black, like a copper color, or yeah, pretty much like a copper color. And I'm pretty sure they'd even custom paint some if you actually asked them to, or put an inquiry in about it. And then the price, I don't know how the price would go with that. But yeah, so that's gonna be how you replace them on the ESR wheels anyways. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like. If you thought it was helpful or have any questions, go ahead and drop a question down in the comments and let me know what you're thinking. Also, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more on the Genesis, on the Super SVX, or stuff like this. I do all sorts of different things nowadays. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Be safe, and let me know if you have any questions. Alright, thanks for watching.